What's your whole theory on Mars? And
when you look at Mars, you discover, first of all, the collective collaboration between governments is well over $1 trillion in revenue to go explore Mars. They took samples of the Martian sand, the soil, and that came back having high levels of xenon. It's a byproduct of nuclear war because it's weapons-grade xenon.
wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, he is back to expose some more truths. Billy Carson in the building.
Hey, thank you, brother. Good to be back.
My man, you've been taking some trips around the world, right?
Oh, nonstop. I traveled so much. Last year, we did 9 months in hotels.
Damn.
Yeah.
9 months. And was that mainly in Egypt?
No, that was literally worldwide. I mean, we bounced all over the planet, literally. Egypt, Cambodia. We did 140 miles in Egypt, hiking in the desert and going to ancient temples, another 50 miles in the jungles of Cambodia.
Wow.
All the way down into Bora Bora, Tahiti, Mesoamerica, which is now Mexico, and so just bouncing around the planet, a lot of places, a lot of stops around the United States as well.
Yeah.
But just bouncing around a lot.
And what are some things you're searching for on these journeys?
We're looking for evidence of ancient civilizations that had high technology. That's really what we're looking for.
And have you found any conclusive evidence so far?
Oh, yeah. We found a lot of tool marks.
Tool marks?
Yeah. And so in this new TV series I'm working on now called Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed, I'll be showing tool marks, actual tool marks of these ancient sites where they've utilized them to create holes in solid diorite or solid crystal granite, which you can only cut diorite with diorite or a diamond. And these holes, some of them are so small and so fine, we don't have a drill bit today that can recreate that type of cut.
Wow.
And we've got the actual tool marks showing that there was an actual tool used, and we believe it was a frequency tool with some type of a high-level, high-tech bit that we can't duplicate today.
It makes you question where the tools went then.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they were taken away.
Yeah, they definitely were taken away. Yeah, when you look at the second pyramid war that's talked about in the Sumerian tablets, you discover that one of the Anunnaki beings named Anu, he was like the head of the gods, he told his son and his other son, both of his sons, to forebode and to leave, which was mean get out of here. But before they did, he told them to take everything with you. So they took the caps off some of the pyramids that broke the functionality. They stripped the interior technology from some of these pyramid structures. All the temples, they stripped the technology out of them. They buried 200 pyramids at Giza in Africa, right there in Cairo.
Wow.
Buried with the sand. We just discovered that on ground-penetrating radar, that there's 200 more pyramids buried there.
Holy crap.
Göbekli Tepe, buried from sand. That's not even from Turkey. Okay, from 400 miles away, they took them and brought there to bury Göbekli Tepe, which dates humanity back another 13,000 years. And so all these sites from around the world, we're discovering a lot of the high-tech stuff has been taken away or buried or broken.
I wonder how they were able to bury them.
Yeah, well, if you're going to bury an entire site like Göbekli Tepe or an entire plateau like Giza, you need something that can carry millions of tons of sand. And you're not going to drag it on the ground.
Yeah.
You've got to, first of all, be able to dig it, which means you need some type of machinery. And then you need to be able to lift it up and then drop it.
Wow.
So
these 200 pyramids, how far under are they?
Oh, they're probably about maybe 30, 40 meters beneath the sands of Giza.
So we can uncover those.
Oh, yeah, we can uncover them. They're there. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
They've been discovering things over there nonstop, consistently. Like almost every week there's a new discovery.
Right. And I've heard you talk about how ancient Egyptians had access to portals, right, to travel.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you look at the Pyramid of the Sun located in Bosnia, these are European pyramids that nobody's really talking about. There's a valley there with pyramids in the entire valley. It seems to be like 4 or 5 pyramids, massive. But there's one called the Pyramid of the Sun. We discovered that there's tunnels underground that connect all these pyramids there. And in one of those tunnels going to the Pyramid of the Sun was a gigantic crystal called the K2 megalith crystal. And written on it is this writing in runes, which we've been able to decipher, ancient Norse writing. And it says, we must stand in defense until we can open the Stargate. So we know that this stone, this giant crystal is there. We have, anyone can look it up. It's available. It's publicly available knowledge. And the writing and the deciphering of it is publicly available. They're saying that we have a Stargate and we're defending. There's a war going on. This is one of those pyramid wars. We can't go through the gate until we defend it because there's something going on here. I guess that maybe there was some time that they had a delay. Maybe it was broken. Maybe it was damaged with some type of a weapons fire. But they were trying to fix it so they can escape through the gate.
So where do you think the Stargate would be?
The Stargate most likely is somewhere underneath the pyramid or maybe inside the heart of the pyramid itself. And there are so many more accounts of pyramids being portals in ancient texts that state that the gods would go into these pyramids and they would vanish.
Wow.
And they would vanish for years. Then they would reappear somewhere else, sometimes on Earth. Sometimes, according to the text, they would reappear on other planets.
Dang.
In the Sumerian tablets, they have something called the Duran key. And Enlil was talking to his sister about the Duran key. He said he was going to build a brand new one in Mesopotamia between the Tigris and Euphrates River in a brand new city. And this would allow him to walk from Earth straight back to the home planet.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So immortality's been here for a long time.
Long time.
People have been chasing it in this generation, but it's already been in the past.
Oh, yeah. They had something called the elixir of life that they would drink, and it would be for healing the heroes of old, these old ancient Anunnaki, the original pantheon that came to the earth, not the Greek pantheon, but the original pantheon out of Mesopotamia, and that it would give them immortal life. It would heal their bodies, heal their organs, and extend their lifespans.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw you did a video recently on Mars. What's your whole theory on Mars? And
Mars is incredible. I mean, when you look at Mars, you discover, first of all, the collective collaboration between governments is well over $1 trillion in revenue to go explore Mars.
wow. Wait, so they're making money?
No, that's what we spent.
Oh, spending money. Okay.
Taxpayers, civilization around the entire planet.
Damn,
We've
trillion?
given our governments over $1 trillion between Russia, America, Europe, China, and now India.
Wow.
We've spent over $1 trillion trying to see what's on Mars. Now, if it's just a cold, dry rock, why keep spending that level of money? Why send so many missions? There have been dozens and dozens of missions to Mars. Well, when you look at the data, which anyone can go download now because a senator, I forget his name now, he was senator, I believe, at one point of Utah, but he did a Freedom of Information Act request, and if he didn't get the images downloaded from NASA, he was going to file a lawsuit. Then all the images came down. That was years ago. And now they freely give these images. When you start analyzing the images, you start seeing anomalies, things that shouldn't be in these images. And they're not on Earth. They are definitely on Mars. And so I started breaking these images down with a group that I formed called the United Family of Anomaly Hunters. So we can just search for these anomalies. And after downloading over 1 million images, we've now cataloged over 60,000 anomalies.
Damn.
Some of them made CNN, ABC, CBS News, major TV. Some have been on Ancient Aliens, the TV series.
Yeah.
These anomalies are undeniable evidence that there's advanced life, or there was advanced life on Mars at one point.
Wow.
The second thing is they took samples of the Martian sand, the soil, and also the atmosphere as well. And that came back having high levels of xenon. Now, what is xenon? It's a byproduct of nuclear war because it's weapons-grade xenon.
Whoa.
So Mars is the god of war. And when you look at the ancient texts, you discover that there was a war on Earth after the second pyramid war that extended from Earth to the moon all the way to Mars.
Wow.
So this Atlantean civilization wasn't just a ring city. In my opinion, the ring city was one capital that existed on the planet of many capitals that existed not only on Earth, but the moon and even on Mars.
Wow. So there used to be people on moon and the Mars, you're saying?
Absolutely.
That is so interesting. Is that why the moon has those big craters as well?
Those craters are interesting. When you look at those moon craters, they all almost have the same depth. And it seems like the debris never hits an angle and slides into a stop. They all look like they've been hit straight down.
Right.
I mean, how can it be that every single impact is the same?
Yeah.
You know, and where is all of the debris around the rims?
Right.
The rims hardly have any debris from the center impact. And then when you zoom into the what would be the center impact, there seems to be something in the center. And we have the Freedom of Information Act, which allowed us to get access to the Apollo mission audio, okay? Apollo 11 audio. And we have the redacted Apollo 11 black box document where Neil clearly says, look at those I think he says convex domes down there, which means like the structures down there. I bet the people down there never get out. And that's publicly available as well. So from his perspective, there were people potentially living down there. Now, one last thing to add to that, ground-penetrating radar on USGS.gov came out years ago. They scanned the moon from the Arecibo satellite, which is now broken. Not satellite, I'm sorry, dish. The Arecibo dish in Puerto Rico. It's broken now, but unfortunately, it went down. It's just old. But they scanned it. They scanned the moon with this Arecibo dish, and they found out that beneath the surface of the moon, 30 meters deep, there are structures that they can't explain. Looks like gigantic steel beams.
Wow.
What are those doing there? And you know the history of the moon as well. When they crashed one of the capsules into the moon, it rang like a bell for hours, meaning it's hollow. So there's something going on with the moon, something really suspicious. And one last thing before we go around it, when you talk about the one of the missions that went to orbit the moon, I think it was Apollo 10, they were seeing if they can just complete an orbit and come back to Earth first before they landed. When they got to the back side of the moon, which we call the dark side, the comms are off naturally because the moon is blocking comms from Earth.
Right.
But when the comms went down, somebody hacked the comms and was playing this music, which they thought they said it was kind of like spiritual music. And you can listen to the black box audio. All the astronauts in the capsule panicked and said, "Who's that? Where's that? Where's that sound coming? Where's that music coming from?" They panicked. And it played until they got right back around into comms range again. Then the comms connected back to Houston.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there could be life on the dark side of the moon.
I believe so.
That is crazy. Yeah, there's no photos from that side, right?
We have some photos,
Oh, there is?
which are amazing. So I was researching that because of this situation, and I looked up and found that there was a mission called Clementine. It was a military mission to do a low lunar orbit around the moon. And this low lunar orbit mission, when I read the name, I said, Clementine, I bet this thing never came back. Because, there's an old country song, "Oh, my darling Clementine, you were lost and gone forever, oh, my darling Clementine." It's a really old country song that I heard when I was growing up. I said, I bet this thing never came back. Sure enough, it never came back.
Wow.
But it transmitted gigabytes of data, which became publicly available a few years ago. So we downloaded all that data. And in those images on the backside of the moon, according to the data, it hit something and it got stuck there. Not only did it hit something, but the data it sent back shows things that look like structures on the backside of the moon. I keep saying backside, not dark side, because you have to realize we call it the dark side because we're not seeing it from Earth. But because the moon does rotate on its axis, it always gets sunlight, just like Earth gets sunlight around the entire equator as well. But so on that side of the moon, though, the side that we can't see, there's something going on, which is probably why they set it to an orbital period where it's in a link or a sync. It's synchronous with our orbit, our rotation on our axis, so that we can never really see what's going on that side.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. I know you've had alien encounters. I know you've interviewed Dr. Stephen Greer. Do you believe these aliens are on other planets, or do you think they're within Earth?
I think they're both. I mean, some people believe that aliens are multidimensional beings or spiritual beings, and even they could be physical beings. I think all three are true. I think that we are really taking for granted the magnitude of our universe and this multiverse that we're living in. And I believe there could be beings that could be on a spiritual level, a totally energetic level, that can peer into our reality and somehow engage us from that realm.
Right.
And also the multidimensionals, that if you can analyze and understand the actual subatomic frequency of a dimension, and you can phase shift your subatomic frequency to match it, you can walk into another dimension.
Wow.
So there could be beings at higher dimensions and have the technology that have the capability of peering into the third by changing their frequency to match the frequency of the third dimension. And it could be the reason for some of the apparitions or paranormal activity. These could be multidimensional beings, which would still be considered aliens.
Yeah.
And then you have the physical aliens in the corporeal body, just like us. I do believe that the hominid body type, our body type, maybe not looking exactly like a human, but a bilateral bipedal hominid with hands that can manipulate the environment, have mostly all looked to see how they can get into space.
Right.
At some point, anybody with this body style will manipulate their environment to get off planet. That's just my personal opinion based on the ancient records that I've read. And so I believe that we have aliens living here on Earth that are indistinguishable from us, and also aliens that are living on other planets and not too far away. I think there's some living right here in our solar system.
Wow, yeah, you're saying the moon and Mars, so that's right next door. Yeah. And people take DMT and see aliens, so those are probably more of the spiritual ones you're talking about.
Right.
And I don't know if you've dabbled with psychedelics, but what do you think is going on there?
Yeah, I haven't dabbled in psychedelics, and the only reason why, I have nothing against psychedelics. I just believe that, well, some of the information I studied before, I research everything, obviously, and it can alter and change the way you perceive reality, yourself, and also rewire your mind. And I like the way my mind works right now. and I like my memory.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to affect that. If you need a psychedelic, there's people that actually benefit greatly from psychedelics. And so it has helped them get to the next level spiritually and consciously. But also, there are people beginning to abuse psychedelics now, which is the problem that we have.
Yeah, all these fake shamans and stuff.
Yeah, fake shamans is turning into just like another drug. People aren't giving time for integration of these psychedelics.
Right.
And so instead of having the experience and giving time for integration and giving time for personal growth, they're doing it just for the feeling and the sensation and the experience. So now it's just like taking any other drug in some cases. So, but I do believe that they can help a lot of people. And what's happening literally is they're just, increasing the DMT, which is giving somebody a high-level psychedelic experience, allowing their pineal gland to tap into higher dimensions, because the pineal gland in the mind is a spiritual antenna.
Right.
And so they're tapping into other realms and other realities while their physical body stays here. That really is happening. It's just that people have to learn how to maintain a certain level of balance. Sometimes you only have to do it once.
Yeah.
You may not have to do it 10 times, or 20 times. But it is something that can help a lot of people.
Yeah. I see you talk about subconscious programming a lot. You just said you like the way you think. How are you avoiding the subconscious programming that's going on right now?
Oh, man, you just have to really stay true to yourself. A lot of people are allowing outside sources to really affect and mold their reality consistently. Now, that is true to a certain extent with all of us. Our outside reality will mold in some way, shape, or form who we are. But when you get to a certain level of consciousness, you begin to realize that at the end of the day, you can go to inner space and have total control over how you feel, how you respond, how you react, and how you experience life. And so a lot of people are relinquishing their power without knowing it to outside sources and distractions, and then wondering why everything's not going their way, not realizing that the true power is on the inside and perceiving the world for what it is, but at the same time going inside to the inner space and the inner journey and understanding how powerful we truly are and commanding your reality into existence.
Yeah, victim mentality, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get away from the victim mentality. Get away from PTSD and get into PTG. PTG is post-traumatic growth.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that throw out that term PTSD, and obviously some people have it, but like I feel like it's just tossed around now, like everyone has it.
Yeah, they're just tossing it around too much. Some people do have it, but some people are just utilizing it like a crutch.
Yeah.
It's time to grow now. It's time to see the experiences that have happened. Most people are suffering because they haven't been able to forgive themselves. They keep begging, hoping, and wishing for some outside source to come in and forgive them for things that have happened to them and things that they've done, when the true reality is we're here to forgive ourselves. We're here to also save ourselves.
Yeah.
And when a person takes on that mindset, now they're in the growth mindset.
Absolutely. When certain people walk in the room, you feel it, right? Do you feel like certain people or everyone has an energy field?
Oh, yeah. Everyone has energy. I mean, we know scientifically proven everyone has an energy field. If you look at the heart from the Heart Math Institute, you discover that there's a bioelectric field that's coming out of the heart, extending 10, sometimes as much as 20 feet.
Wow.
Now, what I learned when I took classes at MIT for applied neuroscience, I learned something crazy. I knew about this field, but I didn't know that, let's say we're in the room together, right? Let's say you're stressed out and your cortisol levels are spiking. That cortisol, that hormone is leaving out of your body, some of it, on your electromagnetic field and winding and interacting with my field, and your cortisol is coming into my body.
Damn.
So your anxiousness, your anxiety, your anger, your frustration could literally directly affect me by your hormones literally going down my field into my body and raising my levels.
Wow.
And making me feel down, depressed, angry, pissed off. So, but if you were in a high frequency, high vibration, the opposite can happen. And those hormones can come into my body and raise my vibration. So, when you say, when that person walks in a room, the room just lights up, that's actually a true statement. Some people have the power. They walking in their true power, high vibration, high frequency. You can walk into a room and you can take somebody who's low and bring them to a higher level.
Wow, I love that.
And that's scientifically proven.
Yeah, it really makes you think about who you want to surround yourself with,
Yes.
knowing that, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I used to surround myself with low vibration people, and I was broke, to be honest.
You got to stay away from people that have a problem for every solution.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about past life trauma, generational trauma, and if you believe there's this theory that your souls choose your current life.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that?
Well, yes, and it's a good two-part question there. The first thing is we have epigenetic memories. That's been proven now scientifically. I remember when Dr. Bruce Lipton talked about this over 20 years ago, the epigenetic memories being passed down from ancestral trauma and his own peers laughed at him. They almost ostracized him from the community, from his own scientific community. Now, fast forward 20 plus years later, it's taught in universities.
Wow.
They've done all the scientific studies. They've discovered that in every single one of us, 15 to 20 years of generational trauma is being passed down. The memories, the actual memories are coming in through the RNA on the father's side into the next generation.
Damn.
And so what's happening is you can be a person that's got what appears to be a great life. I'm doing good. I got my career. Everything's going phenomenal. I got a lot of opportunity. Why do I feel depressed? Why am I anxious? Why am I angry all the time? It might not be you. It could be your ancestors' trauma in your body.
Wow.
A lot of people don't understand this. Like, for example, why are a lot of African-American people extremely angry and frustrated and depressed? Well, 15 to 20 generations hasn't even passed yet from what happened with slavery. I mean, it's just a fact.
Right.
So if you analyze and realize the trauma from my ancestors, what happened to them, is still circulating in my body right now. And so there may be times and periods where I'm angry, frustrated, distraught, or whatever. And so somebody from the outside, he's pissed off and he's angry for no reason, or he's sad for no reason, or he's depressed for no reason. But they're not taking into consideration actual genetics. And also, when it gets to your second part of your question, you were talking about, do we choose this life? I believe that our higher selves, this is the false self. This third dimensional reality is the false self. This is God trying to experience what it's like in the third dimension as Billy Carson, as Sean Kelly. And so I believe that we are at a higher level, the highest level in consciousness, which is only one, says and chooses, yes, I want to see what it's like to be Billy Carson. I want to see what it's like to be Sean Kelly. I want to see what it's like to be a rock. I want to see what it's like to be a blade of grass.
Right.
And sends that divine energy, that spark, into all the different things that exist. And we've got to remember, everything's alive. This microphone is alive. Why? Because we know through the double slit experiment in quantum physics that the electrons orbiting the atoms in this microphone make a conscious decision to collapse into the appearance of a microphone.
Wow.
To collapse into digital matter. So if electrons are conscious, that means atoms are conscious. And if atoms are conscious, that means everything's conscious, because everything that we know of is made of atoms. We didn't make the microphone. We only stacked the atoms in a particular format like Legos to allow them to manifest what we can utilize as a microphone. But we didn't really create the microphone. We just stacked the atoms in position for it to be used as a tool. And when we begin to understand that everything is conscious, now we realize, oh, wow, we are all part of one gigantic, massive consciousness that's experiencing itself subjectively through Googles and Googles of entities and what we consider to be non-material and material things throughout the entire multiverse even.
Wow. So you do believe in the theory of one then, that we're all connected.
We're all connected, and we are if you look at this, the mind is encased in darkness, the brain. The brain doesn't know anything. It can't see, do, feel, taste, touch, anything. But it has friends, hearing, sight, taste, touch, smell, and everything. And all of a sudden it sends its friends out. The friends go out, and he says to the friends, hey, gather some data for me so I can figure out what's going on. The friends go and touch and smell and taste and hear and everything else. The friends don't even know the data they're collecting. Like, my hand doesn't know what it's touching right now. It has no clue. But it sends the data to the brain. The brain then takes the data, sorts it all out, projects a hologram as to what's going on outside. And we navigate that hologram based on that projection from data collected by our friends. Now, that's on the micro. Let's take it to the macro. The universe is a mind. And who are the friends? We are the friends. We're collecting data. And as we collect data by living our lives, we're transmitting information consciously back to the source for it to understand what is it like to be in the third dimension.
Wow. So the source is in a different dimension, you're saying?
Oh, yeah. Source is a much higher dimension, for sure.
Right. Because I know you believe in 11 dimensions.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of theoretical physicists and astrophysicists, and experts in supersymmetry have all come to the same conclusion. Even Michio Kaku talked about this a few years ago, that the universe, based on the computer modeling, is 11 dimensions.
Right.
Otherwise, it would collapse. It wouldn't be able to exist.
So we're in pretty much a video game where we have to level up, keep leveling up to the 11th dimension.
Keep leveling up.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
Keep getting to higher and higher realms, or even it could be that we keep getting to higher dimensions of consciousness. But in those dimensions, there could be completely separate worlds that exist.
Right.
There's so many possibilities. Nobody can specifically say, But I do believe that we are in a game just like a video game. Just like in a video game, you can go left or right, and the next screen or the next frame appears as you need it. The same thing happens here in the real world. We discovered this now through quantum physics. You're not at home right now. I'm not at home. Our house exists as a wave of potentials. It doesn't exist as solid matter right now because we're not looking at it.
Wow.
Until we turn the corner and see the house, then it exists again.
You're right, though. That's so trippy to think about. Yeah,
Right.
we're in a simulation, and you said they just found evidence of it?
This is the evidence. The double slit experiment is the evidence. The fact that we're living in a fractal holographic matrix of light, as they began to learn through the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland, colliding these atoms and particles together, they discovered we're living in a matrix.
Wow.
And then Professor James Gates took it another level and said, wow, we are living in a matrix, because he discovered these symbols by the Dogons called Adinkra codes. And these Adinkra codes, when you take them from flat print and take them into three-dimensional objects, they're mathematical codes. But not any type of mathematical code. They're error-correcting codes. The same type that runs search engines and web browsers.
Wow.
And that is what he discovered is running the ether of space-time itself. So we have his expert analysis with his team that he put together, that we're living inside of a matrix running on error-correcting codes like our search engines and web browsers. We have the LHC confirming that we're living in a light matrix. And we also have then the double slit experiment confirming in superposition. Everything exists in multiple realities as a wave of potentials until a conscious observer collapses it into solid material.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that being said, you are a believer in numerology then?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, numerology, I believe, is real. Numerology, well, if you really want to understand, well, what language does God speak? People say, oh, God's talking to me. I think that you're talking to you. That's what I think. I think, I really do. I think that a mind that isn't matured consciously hears a voice in their head and believes that it's a God talking to them. But when you get to the highest level, you begin to hear your own voice. And that's when you know you've made it to a high level of becoming an adept initiate.
So you could talk to yourself.
Yeah, we're always talking to ourselves. It's only us talking to us from a higher dimension. But those voices, if you say, well, what is the voice of God then? I believe that the voice of God is mathematics, because everything in this universe is mathematical. Everything can be explained through mathematics.
It's true.
Including our entire body, right? So we know that because of this, mathematics is the actual language of the entire universe, maybe even the multiverse. So the language of God is math.
Yeah.
And so when you start to get into these synchronicities with numerology and how it literally lays out the way a person can act, their personality, the likes and dislikes and all those things, I really believe they have some truth to it.
It's so spot on. And I know you've done some stuff with Robert Edward Grant, and he has just shifted my whole perspective about like coincidences. There's no such thing as a coincidence.
No,
it's all math.
That's right. It's all math. It's all math.
It's pretty crazy, man. I wish they taught that type of math in school.
Yeah, I know. That's what they need to teach.
I know, right? Now, why do you think we're born without the memories of past lives? Because I feel like you're able to learn a lot from those lives, and most people don't ever get to know their past lives.
Yeah, that's a great question. And when you look into reincarnation, you discover something that the ancients knew. In a lot of cases, you come back with no memories. And as you grow consciously over time, coming back over and over again, you begin to realize you can regain or access some of those memories. So some people become what they call adept initiates. That's what Thoth called them in the Emerald Tablets. I wrote about this in my book. And he's talking about having the ability to come back with the memories and also to incarnate at will. He says he can even incarnate on any dimension that he desires.
Wow.
So he's gotten to that level. So there seems to be levels to the game. But in the startup level, it seems like a person has to keep coming back over and over again. But they seem to, in some ways, get more mature in different areas as they continue to come back. It's almost like a way of teaching somebody to become better and higher knowledge without giving them any kind of clue and kind of almost letting them find their way. So it's an experiment.
Yeah.
And I think that the grand experiment is how many souls can rise to that higher level of consciousness to get to the higher dimensions. And people don't like the word experiment, but when you really analyze it, to me, it's really an experiment. This is a grand experiment. I mean, I'm not trying to take away anything from divinity or God or spirituality, because I believe in those things, but I'm just saying at the same time, this is a grand experiment unfolding right before our very eyes. A person can be 20 years old and be ancient. A person can have come back thousands of times. And then that person's mother could be 60 and be a brand newborn, first time here.
Right. Yeah, I just started exploring some of mine. I think I've had almost 500 lives. Pretty crazy.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm looking into all this stuff, numerology. I'm a 33.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, I'm really here for a purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you probably have similar things going on too.
Yeah, I do. Same thing, master number 22. And when you start analyzing these numbers and analyzing the meaning behind them and the numbers that have been attributed to your life and seeing the path that you're on, you begin to realize, wow, yeah, this is my first time.
Yeah, for
This
sure.
is my first time here.
A couple interesting videos you made. You made one on hydrogen cars. Within the next 10 years, we will all be driving those.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people laughed. Some people challenged me. Some big people in the conscious community. Well, I don't want to call them big people. They're trying to be big people, but they're trying to ride the coattails. But utilize my name for the algorithm.
Yeah.
But the fact is, yes, hydrogen is the way of the future. The head CEO of GMC just came out, or GM, I should say, GM. It's a woman. She just came out and said, "Yeah, we are backing out of EVs, and we're going all hydrogen."
Wow.
Toyota, Hyundai going all hydrogen. Rolls-Royce going all hydrogen.
Damn, Rolls-Royce?
Rolls-Royce.
Whoa.
Their electric cars failing miserably. The Spectre failing miserably right now, but they just developed the first Rolls-Royce hydrogen-powered jet engine for an airplane and flew it.
Damn.
Not the very first, but the very first of this unique type that can actually do exactly what it's supposed to do. And now most airplanes are going to be moving into hydrogen-based engines, and Rolls-Royce is leading the way. This is why I've got a lot of this stock. It's gone up significantly.
I love that.
And then you have Tesla, who's moving away from EVs and getting into the H model.
Are they actually moving away from electric?
He's going to start going into the H. Yes,
Wow.
they're working on the H model. Even he had to, you know what? He made a tweet about this even, and I have to tweet on that post. He's moving into hydrogen.
Okay.
And the reason why is because hydrogen cells can charge within 5 to 10 minutes, and an electric fuel cell, 35, 40 minutes.
Sometimes I'm there for an hour with my Tesla, dude.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then also you have to realize the cobalt and the lithium used to make those batteries are being mined by forced child labor in Africa. And a lot of these mines are illegal mines, and these corporations know they're illegal, but they're still utilizing them. And the problem is, what happens when a militia takes over one of those illegal mines and just holds the world hostage, and the price goes up 1 trillion times because they're wanting all this extra money?
Right.
Or they decide to just destroy the mine, and that is a shortage. Now, nope, and we have this situation. There's not even a real good infrastructure for the electric cars. When it gets too cold, they don't charge. There's so much going on here, but with hydrogen, you have the total opposite going on. And so you're going to see everyone moving. Now, you'll see commercial vehicles, buses, trains, maybe even some of these commercial things like Amazon delivery cars, trucks. They'll stay electric.
Right.
But anything that needs to go long range, anything that's going to be more civilian-based will go to hydrogen. If you have an electric car, you're kind of limited to where you can go.
Yeah.
I live in South Florida at the very bottom. When there's a hurricane coming and you have to evacuate by car because the airport's closed, you won't make it to the end of the state.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're going to be stuck in one of those crazy lines that'll never end, and you'll never get out of the state. The hurricane's going to hit you while you're standing outside in the open air with no protection. You have to go 150 miles in one direction and make sure you turn back to get back to your house before the gas, your electric runs out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of limitations with electric cars, unfortunately. So we're going to go hydrogen. That's going to be the big push for the future. And I really believe that within the next 10 years, you're going to see a lot of hydrogen cars on the road.
Nice. I got to stack up on those Rolls-Royce stocks.
That's right. RYCE.
Do you think the ancient civilizations were using hydrogen technology?
I believe so, 1,000%. Looking at the Great Pyramid itself has what I call a hydrogen chamber. It was built on top of an aquifer, an ancient aquifer, which is kind of dried out now, even though there's still some water, but not a lot of moving water like when the Nile ran right up to the Great Pyramid. And the Great Pyramid, we used to take some of that water to create physiostatic electricity, but some of it was forced into the Queen's Chamber, which operates like an electrolysis machine, extracting hydrogen from oxygen. And where did that go? The shafts. And why the shafts? Those shafts are specifically aligned with star systems, right? Orion, Aldebaran, Sirius. On particular alignments, those shafts are aligned with stars for a reason, because they shoot hydrogen towards those star systems. Why? Because we found out in science and astrophysics that you can actually encode data on top of hydrogen and send it into space. So because it's the most abundant element that exists in the universe, astrophysicists and people that investigators at SETI trying to communicate with ET are utilizing the hydrogen frequency to try to communicate because you can encode data on it, data packets, and send it out into deep space. Same thing I think the Great Pyramid did. In ancient times, it was set up to transmit back to those star systems an update as to what's going on down here on this breakaway civilization.
Wow. Speaking of frequency, you hear this term about raising your frequency. Are there proven ways to do that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing we know is by connecting an EEG to your head, a cap with electrodes, and connecting it to a computer, we can see your frequency that you're at, right? So we know that the brain is emitting frequencies or light waves that are leaving the skull and going out into space-time that we just happen to capture with that cap and send to a computer. So we know that when a person is in anguish, sorrow, fear, hoping, begging, wishing, those frequencies on the computer create a very low-frequency oscillation wave. Now, if the person gets into a position of power, excitement, happiness, right, vigor, we know that it creates a very compact, high-end, and close cosine wave, which is high frequency.
Wow.
So we know the physical representation of the frequency a person in can be captured by their thoughts. So this isn't like a woo-woo statement. It's an actual real thing. And what you have to do is get out of the victim mindset and hoping and begging and wishing mindset and getting to the commanding and I'm powerful and I'm the affirmations mindset.
Right.
That's going to shift your frequency into the other direction and get you into a high frequency mindset. When you get into a high frequency mindset, you now can command things into existence. You can operate within the law of attraction on a positive frequency because when you're on a low frequency, the law of attraction still works.
Yeah.
But you get low frequency things coming back at you and you can be like, I can't get out of this situation. Every time I turn around, there's another bad thing happening to me because you're in a low frequency. Once your frequency shifts to a high frequency, now all of a sudden, all good things start coming back, right? And so the universe is working like a boomerang. It's a mirror of what you're putting out energetically.
Yeah.
So you want to force yourself into a high frequency by doing positive affirmations, meditation, being of service to others, being in a good state of mind, respecting everyone with dignity and respect. That's going to put you in a high frequency.
I love that, man. And it's so relatable because I've been at points in my life where I was operating on low frequency and nothing good was happening.
Right.
And now look at this podcast, it's taken off because I've made a conscious effort to raise my frequency.
Exactly. Conscious effort.
Night and day, man.
Yeah.
You also did a video on Antarctica.
Oh, yeah.
I just had Matt LaCroix on. He had an interesting theory on Antarctica, but I'd love to hear yours too. Yeah,
what's interesting about Antarctica, there's an opening there that you can see on Google Earth. It's about a 30-meter wide opening in Antarctica. Now, when you look at this opening, there's a base. There's a lot of bases around the opening. Each base has a name, and the names are the countries of the planet Earth. They have their own base down there. They're doing a collaborative research of whatever is in this hole. Now, behind that hole, about maybe 15 to 30 miles, there's a gigantic pyramid off in the distance.
Wow.
And the pyramid is there. You can see the complete apex of it. It's been on the History Channel. It's been on Ancient Aliens. It's a famous pyramid. It's been there. But it's massive, much bigger than the one in Egypt.
Wow.
Much bigger.
How did they build it out there with no sand?
Well, what's interesting is you look at Antarctica and you realize it's not from that location on the planet Earth. Antarctica, that continent itself, shifted into that position due to a pole shift of the crust of the Earth itself. So the tectonic plates and sometimes slipped, and that continent moved into that position at a very rapid pace. And you know what the scientific evidence is? The scientific evidence is as we begin to dig out the animals from the melting ice due to global warming, they dissect them right away. They have undigested food in their stomachs.
What?
Which means that they were flash frozen.
Wow.
When you move that amount of landmass that fast into a new position because of a tectonic plate slippage, which is called a pole shift, it creates a massive wave of water that covers the entire planet. Most land areas are covered or there's a surge of water. Now, in that area, the surge of water and the cold is going to flash freeze. It also could be one of the catalysts for one of the original or one of the older flood stories that existed in many ancient cultures. So, in my opinion, Antarctica is remnant of an Atlantean civilization that shifted into that location and that there's advanced technologies being researched in that hole down there in Antarctica.
Interesting. So when you hear the Ice Age, that's what it was, basically?
Yeah, the Ice Age is when, the Ice Age is cyclical. So every 13,000 years or so, we go into this cooling period.
Right.
And we know this from the Earth's ice cores. So we've done the ice core data, looked at it, and the ice core data tells us every warming and cooling period. So this global warming It's not because cows are farting and we have exhaust pipes and women are spraying too much hairspray. I'm sorry. It's not happening because there's too many jets in the sky. Are we having a small effect on global warming? Yes, I would have to say that. Right. But are we causing this warming cycle? No. When you look into the ice core data, which goes back thousands of years, it shows every single warming and cooling period. And we're perfectly aligned with the next warming period. And this isn't even the warmest period that's ever happened. We're in a cool warming period. We have so much more warming to go to get into the catastrophic range.
Wow.
And it's based on the data, it's not going to happen this cycle. So I think we're pretty safe. However, but that's why they're doing all the geoengineering and everything else. They discovered, well, if we scare people with this, we can make trillions of dollars in geoengineering, right. Spraying chemicals in the air.
Yes, chemtrails, right? And there's theories that the government can control the weather and make it rain or do whatever they want, right?
Oh, they can control the weather. They can make clouds. They can make it rain. I mean, seeding clouds has been around since Vietnam.
Wow, right? That early?
Oh, yeah, that early, yeah. And right now, of course, with the different machines that they have, the technology that they have, they can take a plane up into the sky. They can release different types of particulates into the air, upper atmosphere, which can reflect the sunlight back into space. So they're doing this cooling planet type of a project, which is really having some catastrophic effects and creating really bad weather all over the planet.
Wow.
I mean, look, L.A. used to be nice and warm. I used to go to L.A. in February with a T-shirt. Now you can't go there with a T-shirt any time of the year. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's over. For the first time in Miami, we had a winter in decades. I haven't felt this cold in Miami in decades.
Snowed out there, right?
Yeah, it snowed in '76.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. But I mean, in Miami, it got down to the 40s and 50s throughout December, which is kind of strange.
Super weird.
Yeah, and it's like we don't get cold until February for 2 weeks, and that's it.
It just rained here for 2 weeks in Vegas. I was
Right.
like, that's never happened before.
Wow, the
in
weather's
Vegas.
all screwed up. But they're dropping aluminum, barium, and strontium into the upper atmosphere. And the evidence of this, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. You can actually Google geoengineering contract. Anyone can do that. And if you have a plane and you fit the criteria in the background check, you can then sign up and register with most governments to become a person that can actually go and spray these particulates into the air.
Wow.
So they're open contract. You can bid on a contract to be a plane operator that can actually spray this stuff into the atmosphere.
That is crazy.
And their purpose behind it, the science behind it, is they're trying to reflect sunlight back into space and reduce the temperature on the planet.
It just seems like a lot of areas have been compromised. You look at the food system. I mean, you can't even eat 90% of grocery stores.
No, you can't. I mean, well, besides the aluminum falling from the sky, giving us all Parkinson's disease and creating autism, in the grocery stores you have, the rise of course, of all of the GMOs. I remember when Obama campaigned on labeling GMOs and helping to get rid of GMOs, and they showed his wife, having their own garden, their private organic garden, and then as soon as he came into office, he hired Monsanto to be the head of the FDA.
Oh my God!
That didn't last too long. They're all compromised. These poly tricksters. And so what happens? This guy's head of the FDA, Monsanto of all people, the guy with the most toxic poison in the world. And then they begin to patent the seeds. And now most world seeds for all plants, for vegetables and fruits are patented.
Wow.
And it's becoming a big problem because these other countries and some of these third world countries that want seeds to grow their own crops, they can't afford the patented seeds.
Wow.
And then plants are being grown in a way where they're being genetically modified not to produce seeds on the inside.
Yeah.
Like watermelons and bananas and things like that. So they're creating this situation where you're highly dependent on their seeds for the production of the world's food.
Crazy.
And it's all poisonous. It's all cancerous.
Yeah.
Between that and the microplastics that are in everything.
I try to drink out of glass now, man.
Right. You got to drink out of glass because the microplastics. I mean, one of the biggest rises for estrogen in men is the microplastics.
Right.
It's creating a higher level of estrogen. It's destroying men worldwide. And now they're finding it just by breathing air in. We're breathing in microplastics.
Oh my
it's in all the fish. Well, we're killing ourselves. A human being, under the study of Harvard University, should live to 120 years in the most pristine conditions. That's what our telomeres will allow us to live. Our telomeres on chromosome number 2. Men are barely making it to 70, and women are lucky if they can get to 79, 80. We should be living so much longer than we're living and with a much better life.
Yeah.
But we're suffering. We're killing ourselves. This is why the aliens don't talk to us. I mean, they look down, they go, these people are ingesting their own poisons.
Yeah. No, for real. And it makes you question if it's by design, right? Because I just had Dr. Zach Bush on, and he said the medical industry is our #1 money source in America. So they want us to be sick, or else our money goes away.
Big Pharma invests in fast food restaurants.
Wow.
Why would they do that? Because they're creating their own future customers. You get them while they're young, Happy Meals and so forth. You get them while they're young. You get them sick and poisoned from the time they're young, and as they begin to grow up, you got a customer guaranteed coming in that's going to need some type of pharmaceutical at some point.
Yep, I ate Burger King every day growing up, and it's looking back. I mean, that's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah.
All the seed oils and God knows what else is in there.
Horrible.
Yeah, I know you got a trip to Egypt planned with like 100, 200 people, right?
Yes. We had an amazing trip last year. We took 140 total. This year we're going to duplicate, do it again. Super VIP. When I say VIP, we actually take people on private access tours, where when we show up at Giza, everyone's got to leave. All tourists have to get out. They're
Wow.
cleared out by the military. When we go into the Great Pyramid, you don't go in for 5 or 10 minutes and get out. You don't spend that kind of energy getting up into the king's chamber to get out that quick. We sit in there for 2, 3, 4 hours, do meditations,
Wow.
analyze, do research. I'll be bringing my Geiger counter to look for background radiation and all these kind of cool things, energy frequencies and stuff that we do, EMFs and everything else coming out of the stones. And so we take you to like private tours at ancient temples, and we clear everybody out, and we have plated dinners inside of an ancient temple.
So sick.
Yeah, go down the Nile cruise, which we're going to take 7 days on the Nile and stop along the way to all these ancient sites. It's really an incredible, life-changing tour. People love it. And what happens is the people that come, they become a family. We put them in a WhatsApp group together,
Yeah,
and they're family for life.
love that.
Yeah, they're family for
Where
life.
can people find out more about that?
You can go to forbiddenknowledge.com and just go to tours, upcoming tours. We'd like to invite you if you want
Yeah.
to be a part of it.
I'm excited, man. I got to get out to Egypt for real.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. It'd be great. But yeah, it's going to be a great tour.
Awesome.
October 2024.
Let's do it. Anything else you want to promote or close off with?
Well, you know, we have we've been doing phenomenal with Forbidden Knowledge TV. Forbidden Knowledge TV now has over 3,000 episodes of content up there, and it's a great app on your app store. Just get the 4 Forbidden Knowledge TV app, and check out our shows. It's like a conscious Netflix, and the company's poised right now. We're going to be going public soon. We're in round 3 of funding and raising funds, and
Nice.
we're going to uplist to a Reg A Plus in a few months, and then from there, we're going to look to uplist to NASDAQ.
Let's get it, Bella.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait to ball with you, man.
Appreciate
Let's
it.
do it.
We're going to ball. We're going to
Yes,
hoop.
sir. We're
Yeah.
going to hoop. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Peace.